Hey, ChatGPT, I'm doing a podcast right now with Jimmy Mackin. I think it has to be noted how exceptional his hair is to the audience. We talk about growth in real estate professionals, businesses. It's called growth mode. We talk about technology, AI, marketing, sales. What should I do for an intro? What would you say?
Absolutely. Let's keep it straightforward and a little fun for you. You could kick off by saying something like, "Hey everyone, welcome to Growth Mode. Today I've got Jimmy Mackin here with me, and before we dive into AI, tech, and all things real estate growth, let's just acknowledge the guy's got some absolutely fantastic hair." Then you can smoothly transition into your main topics, keep it light and conversational, and you'll be all set.
It only takes one spark, one insight, one idea to create the exponential growth you desire. Welcome to the Growth Mode Podcast, where we share the strategies for your growth.
All right, Jason. Well, on that note, we have to give everyone a shout out here. We've been getting so much positive feedback about growth mode. We got almost 1,000 subscribers to our new pod. We have thousands and thousands of people listening on the Spotify and Apple streams. So first off, thank you to all of our longtime listeners who've been listening now for the last 4 or 5 weeks. And also, if this is the first growth mode you've been part of, we're thrilled to have you here. As Jason mentioned, we talk about AI, marketing, technology, and sales. We created this podcast really just make sure that you're in a position to take these practical ideas and grow your business. So Jason, we got a couple things lined up today that are worth diving into. Let me kind of give it the high level, then I'll jump into my first question for you. So we're going to talk about an Instagram strategy that our friend Sam RP is executing that has helped him get $400,000 in GCI in the
Can't wait.
last 18 months. I know, unbelievable story. I know you know a lot
So
about
good.
this because you work with
I
Sam
do.
personally. So I love the story. Lots of lessons there. Number two, we're going to give a breakdown of this new AI tool we released, completely free for people to use. And I think it's a great example of how AI can streamline, can simplify things. But where we want to start today is we got to talk about ChatGPT 5. I mean, it just came out. And I want to get, I've been seeing mixed reviews, Jason, in our chat, in our founders chat, where kind of people are going back and forth on it. So first off, if you could give a quick lay of the land of what happened, what were some of the updates, and then just some of your perspective on this.
Yeah, so ChatGPTs, if you look at their models, it's kind of like software where they release one iteration after the next, and they have kind of version codes. But what you might have noticed is there's really sort of two planes of two types of AI models in ChatGPT. You have your reasoning versus your non-reasoning.
Hmm.
And the way you talk to these models is characteristically different because if you get too modular in your thinking, if you get too instructional, first do this and then do this, and you're talking to a reasoning model, you're actually sort of stealing its thunder and it gets a little bit tripped up. It's
Hmm.
designed to deploy a chain of thought, logical flow to how it answers you versus your other more conversational models. Like, so the ChatGPT 4o was their
Yep.
conversational model, and then the O4, the O3, typically if the O for Omni preceded the number, it was deputized as more of a thinking or reasoning model. Well,
Hmm.
they're trying to play some catch up, I think, because you're seeing AIs like Claude, like Grok, where it's much more automatic in terms of detecting should it use reasoning or non-reasoning based upon the way the user is interacting with it in the chat. And so when
Hmm.
GPT-5 came out, it's been kind of heralded as this great unifier, the ultimate AI model, the all-in-one model. And if you
Yeah.
look at it now, it's typically set to auto. If you ever click the little drop down where it says GPT-5, it's set to auto, but there is a thinking mode. And so they're really following the playbook of Grok and Claude, in my opinion.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I got to tell you, there are some areas where I think GPT-5 is powerful, but for the most part, I think it was a miss. I
Can
think
you switch back to the old models? Is that possible, or are they
yeah, you can
forcing
click on
you?
the legacy models and revert, but I think there's a whole lot behind the scenes we can't see because it's been clunky in terms of doing some serious output types of tasks. I'll tell you what, conversational stuff, if I'm just asking quick questions, if I'm just having a dialogue about, hey, what movie should I watch with my kids this weekend?
Hmm.
If I'm just having conversational usage of ChatGPT, it's fantastic. And I would say that the GPT-5 is actually a little bit better and more capable on that front. But when it comes to the heavy lifting of feeding it prompts that are designed to do specific heavy lifting marketing or sales, like writing an email, writing a blog, stuff like that,
Yeah.
it's having a forgetfulness syndrome to it where it is forgetting to follow some of your instructions. And then another
Hmm.
case is it's adding to or creating new stuff that you never asked for to, and it's just a little bit maddening because it partially listens. What's been
Is it?
your experience?
Well, I'm just curious, is your advice when they roll out new models, because let's be clear, for our listeners right now who use AI for all of their marketing. They either
Yeah.
use it to write captions or, as you mentioned, write email newsletters or use it to help with video scripts. Is there always a period of time where it's worse before it gets better? You mean
You
like, how
know,
people like release logos, like everyone's like, I hate them, I hate them, I
yeah.
hate them, and like, oh, I love them now. It's great. Is that what we're dealing with right now, in your opinion?
I think ultimately that will be the case. They can't exactly go backwards. They have to go forward.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
given their history, they're gonna figure it out. Now, is it always like that? No, it isn't always like that. Sometimes they drop a new model or an update and it's like, heck yeah, this is crushing right now. This
Hmm.
was just a little bit of a, I think, a forced release. I don't think it was ready.
Yeah.
Not in terms of the way a lot of power users are typically using it. Now, what's been interesting and I've been grateful for is this is why, like inside of AI Marketing Academy, we diversify which language models we use. And we
Hmm.
typically will say, hey, for specific tasks that require, for example, modular thinking, where we're following a set of instructions, first do this and then this and then this, or
Yeah.
if you're analyzing data, or if you're writing code, we really do a lot of our work inside of Claude. And
Yeah.
so it's easy for us to say, well, we're going to just sort of compartmentalize this one over here for this purpose and this one over for this purpose. That way you're getting the best performance out of whatever AI it is. Because a lot of folks have been complaining about this. They're
Yeah.
so dependent on ChatGPT for so many of their tasks. When it can't do what it was doing the way it was doing it, it is incredibly frustrating. And it really just
Hmm.
ends up they're chasing their tails trying to figure that out.
If you were to give us a quick rapid fire, I'm going to give you a type of activity. You tell me which LLM you use, okay?
Let's do it.
And so if I were to do let's say, creating visuals, what are you using?
Are we
Like
talking video or
graphics.
images?
I'm saying graphics, like just images for like ads, images for Instagram
Yeah,
stories,
I'm still using ChatGPT for images. I do think they excel the best. If we're, well, question, are we only talking large language models or are we going outside the box?
Well, we can go outside the box because these other tools definitely
So
use.
Canva owns Leonardo. They do a really fabulous job when it comes to creating images. I
Okay.
tend to use GPT. It's still powered by GPT 4.0, even though it's called ChatGPT 5, but their image generation inside of ChatGPT is probably my go-to,
So image generation right now, ChatGPT, and then the other tool you mentioned is Leonardo. Okay, so
which
now
is
let's like
inside of Canva. All you have to do is use Canva. Canva acquired Leonardo for AI image generation.
love it. Number two, video creation. If you're using, let's say, not full blown avatar videos, but maybe creating B-roll that gets embedded in your reels or embedded in your long form video,
Yeah.
what are you going to?
So my first pick's going to be VO because it's VO 3 technically, which is the video generation AI owned by Gemini. So
Yeah.
it's inside of Gemini. Now I should give a disclaimer to anybody watching or listening. There are so many AI tools out there. I could talk about Runway, I could talk about Luma, I could talk about Pika, I
Hmm.
could talk about any number of AIs that specifically focus on image generation or video generation. But I would tell you, I think VO is absolutely phenomenal and it's built into ChatGPT. And that's what I like about it is you can create really short B-roll based videos in your Gemini. Did I say ChatGPT? I meant
Gemini, just to be
my
clear.
bad.
So you're saying, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
VO is, so this is important. So we're saying Leonardo Canva for image generation. We're all saying ChatGPT for image generation.
yeah.
You're now saying VO, which is part of Gemini, for using things like B-roll. It
Yeah, and let
has
me give you another hack really quick on this.
fire
So
away.
this has happened in the world of prompt engineering. There's some people are learning making some interesting discoveries. Different types of formatting can really increase the quality of your prompts and what they do for you. And
Yeah.
so if you're prompting Gemini,
Hmm.
specifically if you're doing a video prompt, you should ask it to before like this is the way I would do it. I would get into a chat and say, I want a video of some birds flying out of a tree and it's this beautiful sunset, blah, 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 describe it. Now, I want you to craft that prompt the way a prompt engineer would in
Hmm.
JSON. So JSON. JSON is a kind of, I guess you could say a kind of code, so to speak.
Yeah.
And when it puts it in JSON, you can then copy and paste that into your Gemini chat where you're tagging VO. And if you give JSON prompts, the level of precision execution is insane. In fact, I would say JSON prompts in almost any large language model, whether
Yeah.
it's ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, they're just crushing right now in terms of
Hmm.
accuracy. I'm not sure
Hmm.
if that made sense to you or not, Jim.
No, it's a good pro tip because I think a lot of people who are listening right now have an idea in their mind of what they're trying to create, but sometimes the sort of delta between the idea and the output is really challenging. And what I'm hearing you say is one of the pro tips is to ask the AI to recreate and kind of improve your prompt
Right.
in a JSON format that then you feed into AI to
Yeah.
produce the result you're looking for. Let
And
me
here's
build on
why
that.
you do that. Here's why
Yeah,
you do that, Jimmy.
fire away.
Because when you're talking to just standard Gemini, which is like their 2.5 Flash or whatever their model you're using is, or if you're talking to
Yep.
ChatGPT 5, those are large language models. The models that are actually generating the video is VO, is Sora. They have different names,
Yep.
and those AIs are not as good at understanding your natural words. And so, what's really helpful is you use the AI that's really good at talking to you to reformat the prompts into a code that the other AI that actually makes the video is really good at understanding, and then you get a way better follow along. Otherwise, if I just tell VO, make me an image with this and this and this and this in it may focus on one aspect of it and ignore
Mm-hmm.
others. And I
Mm-hmm.
can sort of govern, no, 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 here's the hierarchical order of do this, and then I want a priority here, and it's just going to be way more precise.
Yeah, so let's recap. Leonardo, Canva for image generation, as well as ChatGPT. We talked about using VO for creating some B-roll. Great advice on using JSON to kind of improve the prompt. Definitely gonna try that out. And
Yeah.
I think my advice there, Jason, would be part of this is really like the B-roll stuff. We all know that adding jump cuts and transitions in your videos increases the likelihood of someone's gonna watch it. So using these tools not to be like full-blown AI videos where your whole damn thing's AI, but rather like sort of the in between moments. I think it makes a ton of sense. So this is an incredibly long rapid fire, but I want to follow on with one last question, which is when it comes to creating content, such as writing a blog post, such as creating a video script for a YouTube long form video, or maybe even something like a condensed version for email newsletter. What's your advice in terms of what tool or LLM you're using to be able to power that type of content?
Yeah, so for copy, I'm a fan of ChatGPT. I will
Mm-hmm.
admit some frustrations with their GPT-5 model at the moment. I am still a fan, and really the work that's going to go in is you creating a prompt that forces it to be more rigid in terms of what you want it to create for you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a little annoying right now, but I've already expressed my grievances. ChatGPT
Yes.
is still when it comes to writing newsletter copy, when it comes to writing any kind of copy, ChatGPT is, in my opinion, going to outperform the others.
I love that. Speaking of performance, you and I have got to talk about Sam RP. So first
Yeah.
off, let me just set this up right now, which is if I were to tell you, who everyone who's listening to this podcast, that Jason and I are going to give you a strategy that can make you $100,000 to $200,000 in GCI from Instagram alone, okay, over the next 12 months, and there's a catch: you don't actually have to get in front of the camera. That's the catch.
That is the catch.
Let us know in the comments right now. Are you interested in this strategy? And as the comments are going to pour in, Jason, I guarantee that the vast majority of people who know that Instagram works, want to use Instagram, love the idea of being more social, have been held back by the fact that they just don't want to get in front of the camera. So
Oh, Jimmy,
I want you to share your screen here in a second. I'd love for you to pull up Sam's Instagram profile.
you bet.
But you have a way of describing this strategy. I think it's worth kind of diving into.
Yeah.
Uh, so why don't you give your perspective on kind of how you think about it, and then I want to give an example as well, Jason, of a couple screenshots Sam sent me around both an Instagram story that got like literally 60 leads off of an Instagram story, and we'll make sure we link to this as well in the
I
show
got I
notes.
got a bunch too.
And then also there's one that he had, which another Instagram story that led to 25 conversations. So you guys are
Yeah.
gonna love this. So why don't you pull up Sam's stuff
Yeah.
and we'll talk through it.
Hey, and before I do, let me add a little bit more drama. You made a comment about never having to get on camera for recording videos. I would
Yeah,
also add you could be a brand new agent and execute on this strategy. You could not have listings and execute on
yeah,
the strategy.
yeah.
And so literally the rip off and duplicate nature of this is insane.
It's
So let
wild.
me let me share my screen here. Give me 2 seconds while I figure out where the right buttons are.
You
Uh,
good?
here we
I wish we can get a
go.
behind the scenes look at your computer to see how many buttons you actually have
I
in
have a
there.
whole like Stream Deck here. I just had the wrong profile open and I didn't have my little share screen button. All
All
right.
right,
So
cool.
this
So we're all
is
looking at your
Sam's.
screen.
Yeah,
Yep,
this is Sam's account. Do you want to give first comments? So you asked me about the name. So I typically call Sam's strategy the hook, look, and book.
yep.
It's sort of a three pillars approach where first this, and then this. But I want to hear your take on Sam.
Well, I think it is the perfect Instagram lead funnel, and the
Really?
way I would describe it is Sam uses listing videos, which Jason will pull up here in a second.
There's
He
one.
uses listing videos that are what we refer to as the faceless creator movement, where he is actually not in the videos. It's a videographer doing a rapid tour of a home, as you guys can all see right now on the screen. So he uses listing videos as a way to build his following and increase his reach. And so as you go through his Instagram feed, Jason, how many videos has he published like this at this point? I'm
Man, I
thinking,
don't know. He's doing what, two, three, four a week? I mean, like this is June 18th. This
yep,
one is June 12th. Maybe one a week, two a week,
yeah,
somewhere in that range. June
same
10th.
same style every time, which is I think is an important thing, right? It's sort of a very fast tour. It's you got audio over it. It's talking about the property. Now, what's interesting is Sam. I've seen different versions of this. Where people gatekeep the price, they gatekeep the location. They say, "Hey, comment below or text us," which can definitely work. But what Sam has done is Sam has actually not gatekept anything. And what's cool is you can see here on some of these listings, Jason, they're not his listing. He's
Yeah.
actually tagging, we just passed one a minute ago, he's tagging
Yeah.
the other listing agent. So, like this one here is the
Yeah, there's one.
Chaplin Partners
Yeah.
Instagram, which is another agent.
Yeah,
It's
which comment on that. So in most markets, pretty sure every market,
yeah,
it's absolutely not appropriate and okay to tour some other agent's listing and create a video on Instagram without getting their express written consent.
totally.
A lot of agents get in a lot of trouble. I heard a story the other day about an agent who went in, made a video. They were in the it was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Yeah,
Anyways, you got to get the proper consent. But Sam does. He has a whole process for getting consent from the agents. They're like, absolutely. Why not go get me so much exposure for my listing? He's really created a marketable asset out of this channel whereby every other agent is like, I can't create what you have because you've attracted such a local audience who knows you. Because Jimmy, you made a really important comment a second ago. You said all the videos kind of have a very similar style to them. They're
yeah,
always faceless. There's no fancy gimbal. He's literally walking in with an iPhone at a 0.5% magnification, so it's zoomed out widescreen, and he just walks through and he just does a voiceover of what's going on with this property. But
yeah,
because they all look and sound the same, it makes it really easy for Instagram to figure out, oh, here's another one, dish it
yeah,
out to the audience. Here's another
mhm,
one, dish it out to the audience. And so the
yeah.
audience just get fed and they get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Well, what's so cool about this too, because I met Sam maybe now about 18 months ago. I did an event in Boston and he sent me a DM. He's like, "Hey, I appreciate you coming out here. I just want to let you know I've done like, $160,000 in GCI from Instagram. And now, fast forward 18 months later, he's done 400,000 in the last 18 months. And so this is a strategy which actually can compound. Now, part one, so let me recap here. Part one, by the way, Sam's got 31,000 followers. Part one of the strategy is creating some type of high quality, fast paced listing video that has like your own unique style. So if I see one of those videos, even if I didn't hear Sam's voice, I would know it's Sam's video, right? Which is an
Right.
important sort of distinction here. But that's not enough. That's not going to make you any money. That might get you some followers. That will help you reach a lot of people. That may create
Exactly.
some conversations. But the thing that's so important here, and I'll share my screen because he just shared
Yeah.
this example with me. Over 140 price reductions in Boston. So let me just read this if you're listening to the audio. So it's a simple Instagram story, and behind the text is just basically a picture of a house. Here's what the caption says: over 140 price reductions on homes in Boston in just the last 7 days. Opportunity is here. And then there was a poll that says, what's keeping you from buying your dream home? The first option is, I just can't find what I want, which 32% of people said yes.
Yeah.
The second option was, I need to sell first, which 4% of people said. And then 64% said interest rates. So when I see that, Jason, by the way, I think he was sharing the numbers with me. I think he ended up getting around like 60 or 70 responses from that one poll, maybe even a little bit more than that. So he's got basically 15 people or so, maybe 20 people or so who are like, hey, I just can't find the right house. I mean, is that not an incredibly high quality lead
Is
opportunity? Is
it
that what?
so? What I love about his stories, and I know it's coming from listening leads, a lot of these strategies, is the poll. Normally, a poll, you think there has to be a version of the answer that says no, thank you, yes
Correct.
or no, but it's never no. It's three versions of yes. And so it doesn't matter who responds to the poll, they're all a version of yes. They've just now been segmented into great, I'm going to talk to these people like this, and these people like this, and these people like this.
Oh
And
yeah.
Jimmy, I don't want to steal your thunder, but one of the power moves of Instagram story polls is, of course, that he has the ability to go on the offense and DM anybody who takes the 60 or whatever folks who took the poll.
Exactly. And so if you put the strategy together here for a second, I'll give you one more example because we promised to give the one that's got 25 plus replies. I mean, people literally reaching out to him directly. You have an Instagram video strategy where you just focus on reach, 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 get more followers, get more reach. That way, when you post an Instagram story, which is again going to be organic views, which by the way, I think 71% of Instagram users use stories every single day. So I mean, it's a cheat code in my opinion. You can put in front of them an Instagram story at least once a week, maybe a couple times a week, designed to start a conversation. Now, I have some rules
Yeah.
around this. If you're like one of the things about generating leads from offers is a very simple concept, which is the first step is always the hardest step. So make it a small step. And
Mhm.
so this idea of like in your mind, the way in which we frame our offers is always about creating what we call disarming or language that kind of disarms the consumer. So they
Yeah.
kind of put down their brick wall objections they have in front of you. So saying like things like, hey, this is a crazy idea, but or things like, hey, it's probably the wrong time, but
That's right.
I thought I'd share this with you. This is like, these types of questions tend to generate people's much more likely to participate in the conversation. Now, at the same time, when you've got something that's highly desirable, you should be as direct as you possibly can. Let me give you an example of this, Jason. So I'm gonna share my screen again,
Yeah.
and this is an example of a Instagram story that generated 25 conversations. And if you're listening to the audio, here it is. It's a black page. I mean, there's no graphic, and in
Yeah.
white text it says, "Who's looking for a stunning 3 bedroom, 3 bath, over 1,700 square feet condo with a private outdoor space and a garage parking in Boston for under $1 million?" And he has what would you call that, Jason? A shush
A
emoji?
little shush, don't, yeah.
Don't tell
Make
anybody,
it feel
right?
exclusive.
It is, and it's a principle that I use, which is market like a gossip. Like,
Yeah.
and that's so. What I would say in this case, I'm like, hey, So I love that. Like, who's looking for this? 25 conversations from that one story. It's only possible because Sam is so consistent with creating these listing videos, which grows his reach, which grows his
Right.
following, which means when he puts a lead gen offer in front of somebody, instead of reaching 30 people, he's reaching 2,000 people. And that's how Sam RP has generated $400,000 in GCI in the last 18 months. My question is this, Jason. Is there any reason why people who are listening to this podcast can't do what you and I just coached them on?
There's no good reason. The only reason is a lack of consistency and discipline in their own execution. And I want to add one more note, Jimmy, to
Yeah.
just the brilliance of this strategy. So you keep talking about how the reels get him reach. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you think about it, if you ever look at the analytics of your own Instagram reels, they are predictably consumed by more non-followers than followers. And the reason for
Yeah.
that is quite simple. On Instagram, there are four different feeds. There's the main feed, there's the stories feed, there's the explore page, and there's the reels feed.
Yeah.
And reels have the potential of showing up on the reels feed, the explore
Yeah.
page, and the main feed. And of those three feeds, the only feed that even shows content from accounts you follow is the main feed. So
Yeah.
statistically speaking, your reel is likely being consumed as a first impression for an audience who
Mm-hmm.
doesn't know you. And so then it goes back to, well, that's why it's so critical that Sam keeps posting the same style, because
Yeah.
what's happening is he's building a body of work where the algorithm is learning, oh, Sam makes content like this for people like that. And then
Yeah.
it knows how to, he gains more topic authority
Yeah.
every time he does one of those. And so Instagram's like, show Sam to them, show Sam to them. So his
Yeah.
audience is building and they're like, oh, wow, there's so much more good stuff here. I'm going to follow him. And now they're just getting incubated, so to speak, in the main feed. They're seeing every now and again he posts, like if I were to share the screen again, every now and again you see what I call as deal data, where they
Yeah.
see just on the market, they see some just listed under contract, they see proof of his success. Plus,
Yeah.
they may continue seeing his stories, excuse me, his property tours. He has this brilliant buyer start here, seller start here, and meet
Yep.
Sam on the pinned row of posts at the top. You can go check out Sam. He's just Sam RP on
Yeah.
Instagram if you're listening right now. But the magic is in the stories. And if you think about stories, just for instance, who sees your stories, Jimmy? And the answer is your followers. Your
Mm-hmm.
followers see your stories. And so you're not, when you're putting a reel forward, you're not putting a reel to a known audience. You're likely putting a
Yeah.
reel to a cold audience designed to bring them in as an audience member. But the stories where you get personal and the stories where, to your point, like once a week, you start a critical conversation with prospective customers. And that's what Sam does. So it's never
Yeah.
just the reels or just the stories. It's always the reels to build the audience, the stories
Mm-hmm.
to convert the audience into action, hook, look, and book.
I love that, dude. And let me add one last thing, and we'll move on to agent mode here before we wrap with one tool we're gonna give away. So again, if you're listening right now at the end of today's session, we built a free tool at listingleads.com that everyone who listens to this podcast is going to get early access to. We'll share that in just a second. But before we do, something I've done recently. This is a crazy, crazy hack.
Yeah.
So you know me, I obsess over like how can you create like absolutely compelling hooks and offers? How do you get people? How do you get people basically to let their guard down and have a conversation? And I'm just a big believer in this. So one of the things I've done recently, I'm half Irish I'm half Irish and also Irish Catholic, and so we suppress all of our feelings and we don't talk about them publicly. And we also have most of us have the emotional range of like a toaster. But I actually started asking ChatGPT. I said, imagine not like, hey, you're a marketer or a salesperson. I said, imagine you're a world-class therapist and you're dealing with someone who is skeptical, doesn't want to open up, doesn't want to give you any information. What might be a question you
Mm,
would ask them to get them to let their guard down?
great
And
angle.
I mean, and what's so crazy about this is as I look at this, like as an example, these are called disarming curiosity questions. What's the part of the process that feels most uncomfortable?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. So now as I look at that one, I'm like, oh, as a seller, I'm like, hey, I know selling can be overwhelming. What's the part of the process that feels the most uncomfortable for you right now? This
Yeah.
one's great, which is if this conversation ended up being useful, what would that look like to you?
Mm,
And so I just look when I go through these questions, they have all these different variations of them: strength spotting questions, scaling hypothetical questions, reflective ones. But as I go through all this, Jason, what jumps out to me is it is there's so much power and the way in which we position these kind of offers or questions to get people to open up. And I think so many people who are listening right now, they're like, man, Jimmy, we're posting Instagram videos, we're doing stories. I think it's small tweaks here, Jason.
I do
Small
too.
tweaks to the positioning, small tweaks to language. So on that note, we got to talk about, we've been talking about, I think the theme for the growth mode is every week we talk about agent mode. We have been, I mean,
Like,
we have been on this from the jump, which is we believe, Jason, myself, and Tom all believe that we're not too far in the distant future. AI is not going to be able to just interact with you or become your sort of therapist like it is for me, but rather it's going to be something that actually can be a coworker of yours, an employee
right.
of yours. What are you seeing on the agent mode space right now that's getting you excited? Where is your head at right now? Obviously, this stuff's moving super fast. What do you think people should know about?
Yeah, so I think the first thing people need to do is just mess around with agent mode. So in fact, I'll open up a new chat really quick. So I go to chatgpt.com. Let me share my screen.
Yep,
All right, so here we are. I'm going to zoom in for everybody who's watching right now. So all you have to do is hit your little tools option right here, and then you see agent mode, and they've been
yep,
releasing it, and they give you an allotment. So I have 24 left until 24 attempts with it until I hit August 26th. They give you an allotment based upon your subscription level, and that's mine. If you hit agent mode, it turns it on, and then it gives you these sort of auto-populated research energy investment themes, research fundamentals of natural wine versus traditional techniques, research personal cooling solutions. I'm just reading what's on their little auto prompted
yep,
conversation starters list. Hire a piano tuner via Thumbtack for Saturday. Like that's super specific. So
yep.
actually, I need a piano tuner. That's an interesting one that I might have to test. But what's so neat about it is agent mode is a combination of a few features working in tandem within ChatGPT. It's their deep research, It's the
Hmm.
conversational AI, and it's what they used to call their operator browser, which they're now pulling out because it's
Yeah.
being blended into agent mode. Operator browser, we've talked about it on this show. It is an inline web browser that is an agentic web browser, meaning it can operate itself and it literally exists inside of your chat. And so I can say things like, hey, go on Thumbtack and find a piano tuner for me and then book them. And it can actually open up the web pages, do the research, and then take action on it. I can even take control as the user. I can take control of the browser and I can log into my accounts. Now, don't go log. I think I said this before. Don't go logging into your bank account. Don't go
Yeah.
log into anything where if AI screws up, it's going to be horrible for you. But you can
Hmm.
log into whatever your level of comfort is going to permit you to log into. And if you're logged in, it stays logged in, which means it can work for you autonomously and anonymously. And so,
Yeah.
Jimmy, I think what I would, to answer your question, I think that the best use cases right now are basically extended deep research.
Yeah.
In fact, this is a little bit of a tangent here. So Manus AI just released a new feature called wide research. Have you checked that one out yet?
I'm familiar with the company that was like had a lot of hype behind it. I think it's a Andreessen Horowitz company that
Yeah.
that's now kind of public. So no, give me the laydown of what's
So it's just
wide research.
it's so deep research we've talked about lots of times. Deep research is where an AI like a Grok, a ChatGPT, a Gemini, or Claude well, they have it, or Claude, where
Yeah.
they can deploy just rapid fire web search all over these websites. They crawl tons of web pages and
Yeah.
they bring back all their notes and they sort of consolidate their findings into effectively a synopsis that gives you all the
Yeah.
information you're looking for. Tom talks about deep research all the time.
Yeah.
Well, one of the challenges that deep research has is they're only able to crawl the back end of a website. They can't actually navigate the user interface. So they can't fill out a form. They
Yeah.
can't get a party of two at open table, but agent mode can. And
Hmm.
so where I think it's going to be going is it's going to be booking your showings for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be filling out questionnaires for you. It's going to be doing work like that for you, where it
Yeah.
requires getting into a user interface. Actually, one of my best hacks in terms of what I've been seeing people's crazy ideas for agent mode has been on Reddit. So there's a
Hmm.
lot of really good forums inside of Reddit that I've just been reading what are people doing with AI mode? And they've
Yeah.
done some crazy stuff with agent mode. The caveat, Jimmy, and I want your comments back on this next, is sometimes it does get stuck.
Yeah.
The way it
Yeah.
navigates the internet is sort of like imagine a person who's navigating the internet for the very first time in their life and they just
Yeah.
get stuck on really silly little things sometimes. But eventually it's going to get really good. It's like, hey, go run comps on this for me. And it's going to open up your MLS. It's going to go in, it's going to run the search, it's going to download the data, it's going to give you what
Yeah.
you're looking for end to end. And that to me, like I was having a phone call with a buddy of mine a couple weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, right before Agent Mode got released. And I said to him, I said, literally the day ChatGPT's operator becomes reliable is when the game changes.
Yeah.
And this world of
Yeah.
being able to, like a coworker, just say, do this,
Yeah.
do this, do this. And the next day, agent mode releases.
Yes.
Now, is it ready for all commercial use cases? Not yet, but
Yeah.
you should be messing with it.
Well, I think it's a great example of like Google always has this expression, which is 20% time. And
Yep.
some of the best products that we all use and love from Google, like Google Maps, Gmail, Chrome, all kind of
Yep.
emerge from 20% time.
Yep.
And so what's interesting to me is I think this is I categorize it as a 20% time project.
I agree.
Um, the way I'm using it right now, because I've been experimenting with it, is I use it to actually go through all of my emails under my
Mhm.
promotions tab and actually analyze the subject lines and the copy of those emails and pull out the sort of the unique phrases that are most unique and compelling and put it into a spreadsheet for me to inspire me for my own writing and my own creative. It has been wildly effective at that.
Yeah. And it
Uh,
hasn't sent any weird emails. What was that weird email you sent me the other day? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like not yet. And the fact is that even if it did, I wouldn't care because I try to avoid sending emails or
Yeah,
even
right.
reading them at this point. But you got to be careful about those types of things. But what I think is going to be, I've predicted this already. I think we're at the beginning of the death of the VA. I think any
Yeah.
role within your organization that simply just is a button pusher who is simply taking information from this spreadsheet, putting it into that system, and then putting it back into some dashboard for you so you can look at it and say, okay, this is what's happening. I think those roles I mean, the clock is running on those rules really
I
quickly. Now,
agree.
here's what I'd say is I would not actually fire my VA. The exact opposite. I would ask my VA to say, listen, I want you to make yourself replaceable. If you got a good relationship with them, say, listen, I want you to make yourself replaceable. Automate everything you're doing so we can work on higher value projects together, not just on the sort of automating sort of this like, one-to-one stuff. So I would try to convince, if you got a good VA, you should keep them, but I would try to convince them to basically fully embrace this stuff at its core, so you can get A, more out of them, and B, they can work on higher impact things. Or as everybody
Yep.
knows, like Jason, everyone's got a list for their VA that their VA can't get to because they're too bogged down in the minutia of their current.
Right.
So I would just be, I mean, this is a huge opportunity to get sort of read up on this, because we know the impact's going to be almost instantaneous. Jason, quick question for you
Yeah.
before we talk about our last thing today, we wrap. Is ChatGPT the only LLM that offers agent mode right now, or are there any
That at
others?
that level, yes. Now, I think Perplexity probably won't be far off. So Perplexity's got their Comet browser. It's not available to everybody. I'm on the wait list. I don't have access.
Yeah,
I think one of the keys that you're going to require is the agentic web browser.
yeah.
So here's how I see it. And this is going to be a little bit of fancy talk. Jimmy, when was the last time you looked at the connections and integrations available through Claude MCP with Claude?
It's been a while. I mean, it's been
So
a
so let
while.
me go let me go rogue for a quick second here. I want to just show the audience this really fast. Let me just pull up my Claude account because I'm going to put together a few distinct thoughts. Okay, so I'm in my Claude account and they have their connectors, which effectively through the MCP, it's like the new version of an API. It's not API anymore, it's MCP. And it's basically how do these language models connect to other tools like Google Drive, Canva, Zapier, and others. And if you click Browse Connectors, Jimmy, they have web apps. Look at these web apps. So Fireflies, Calendar,
Yeah.
HubSpot,
Mm-hmm.
Monday, Stripe,
Wow.
PayPal. You can command it.
Wow.
You can ask, but wait, Jimmy, there's more. Look at desktop extensions. It
Mm-hmm.
can literally see my iMessages. It can control my text messages. I can say, hey, what do Jimmy and I typically talk about? What's the funniest thing Jimmy ever said? I can get
Yeah.
it to read and analyze text messages or to
Yeah.
send text messages. It can control my Google Chrome. Now, agentically, not quite. So I think here's the world I'm imagining,
Yeah.
Jimmy. Agentic means Claude MCP where connections exist. And I can, through a prompt, instruct. It's almost like going back to DOS. I can
Yeah.
instruct my machine to go do this very elaborate task. But I think that the key that ChatGPT currently has that others don't really have right now that I'm aware of is that operator web browser inside the chat where it can access the UIs of people. Now, I do know there are some, like Zillow is taking some measures to try to block that traffic. They don't want that
Mm-hmm.
traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be the future. I mean, I think at some point, whatever attempts there are going to be to barricade people from having AIs go crawl their websites is going to be all for naught because that'd be like saying we don't do DoorDash here. Well, then you don't want
Yeah.
my business anymore. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a means to doing the business. So I think it's the web browsers. I think it's the MCP, but all those things coming together, it's just like total AIification, whatever the word might be, of your sales, marketing processes, etc.
I mean, the first off, the fact that this is a big deal, and I'm just gonna hit pause for a second because I think this is I don't want this to get lost for our listeners. The fact that these large language models can connect to the apps that run your businesses, and then can complete complex tasks or analyze data or make
Right.
recommendations is so insanely powerful. And the implications on this are going to be there's going to be a moment in time where everyone's going to say this is obvious. But the implications for me are really straightforward, which is there's certain things that just take so much time that are now going to become instantaneous. And
Yep.
it's only Jason's only a matter of time before that becomes a reality.
Well, and I'd be looking at, okay, what can I understand about these now so I can start chipping away at the iceberg
Yeah.
and finding those opportunities now to get ahead? Because tell you what, 6 months from now, 12 months from now, agents who adopt are going to be so far ahead, and the
Yeah.
agents who wait on this and sleep on this, they're going to be wishing they'd taken action sooner. That's my prediction.
So let me give some context. We built this tool that is designed for a very specific reason. This is a good example of like one of the things that we're doing at Listing Leads is we're trying to really kind of AIify all the marketing we've been doing. So it's automate.listingleads.com/deal. What you're going to have the ability to do is you're going to have the ability to create your own kind of custom deal of the week finder. So you're going to be able to say, Jason can type in Nashville or a specific zip code. He can type in a specific price range.
Looks like I do multiples, can't I?
You can, yeah. You can do multiple, type in multiple price ranges or a price range, a property type. And what's going to happen is, as Jason's doing this, and if you're not watching the replay, not watching if you're listening to the audio version, we recommend go back to the YouTube and you can see it live on the screen here. Jason's going to basically find the best home for sale in his area. And what we're doing, Jason, you can scroll down here. This one's for 1.3 million. How many saves does this home have?
It has 71 hearts, so saves, and then
Yep.
999 views.
So this home has you can look at the save rate, Jason. See what's the save rate? I think it should show it on the screen.
7.1% save rate.
So the way that we calculate this is that we basically say we're going to look at all the homes on Zillow in the last 7 days. We're going to look at the ones by the most views, most saves, and we're going to calculate the ones that have the highest save rate. And then we're going to display that so you can say this deal is really popular among people who are looking for homes in my area. That becomes the catalyst for executing what our friend Sharon popularized, which is the deal of the week. You can do a deal of the week video, which is, hey, I just checked out this home on Zillow. You could obviously hide the home behind you or not even show the home because you don't have to disclose it. This home right now is being saved by 71 people, and it's only been live for 2.5 hours. This home is likely going to sell very quickly. If you want to get more details about the property, send me a DM. And the beauty of the deal of the week is you don't need the agent's permission to do a deal of the week, so long as you don't use the photos, disclose the price, or disclose the address. So you purposely withhold the property information, and then you just say, hey, listen, I came across what I think is the very best deal in our area. I've analyzed all 65 homes in Nashville, and this one has been going viral. If you want to get more information, just reply to this email. And so, Jason, the reason we built this tool, the reason we made it free for everyone was 2 reasons. Number one, the deal of the week strategy is a killer strategy. Everyone should do it. The second reason is everyone told us, they're like, how do I find a good deal? They didn't know how to do that, right? They didn't want to have to go through the MLS and look at every listing and determine whether it was priced right. The consumer tells you it's a good deal by the amount of people who are saving a home. It is a forward-looking indicator. Like you don't have to do it. The consumers are saying, hey, we love this home. So we want you guys to check out. It's automate.listingleads.com/deal. We'll include in the show notes. It's a free tool, Jason, but it's a great example of like, hey, welcome to the world of AI. It's going to make everyone's life easier, better, and faster.
What a perfect example of that, by the way, of just putting together a cumbersome process of having to hunt for a deal of the week. No matter how good and fruitful that email is, it is a lot of work, and now it's completely automatic. Smart move, man. This is a really powerful feature. I love this.
Love it, dude. All right, well, listen. Today, by the way, can we give what time is it right now? It's today's Tom's birthday officially.
Yeah. He's celebrating. He's not celebrating with us as we film this podcast today.
Okay, so yeah, so Tom decided not to do a podcast, but in fact enjoy his birthday today. I by the way, I'm such a terrible friend that I wished him a happy birthday like 4 days ago, but he knows that. So happy birthday to TF. We love you. Hope you're enjoying your birthday. And he is getting ready, and we are getting ready for a very, very, very big week next week. We will be in Dallas together at Tom Ferry Success Summit. Jason is going to be wowing the crowd with different AI strategies. I'm going to be sharing some listing attraction stuff. So if you guys haven't already bought your live stream tickets, we recommend you do that. Where can they get the live stream tickets, Jason?
Just go to tomferry.com/ I believe it's just summit. We'll make sure the right link is in the description. It's either tomferry.com/success summit or /summit, or just go to tomferry.com and click on the homepage, and you'll see a live stream option on the page. To get access to that live stream, you're going to want it. There's some special perks and benefits for the live stream as well.
I love it. And I just realized this video is probably going to go live after the Success Summit is done, Jason. So can they go buy the recordings of that as well?
They will be posting the recordings. Good
Okay, thank
point,
you.
Jimmy.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you.
point.
I just realized. So when you watch this video, likely Jason and I will have already been at Success Summit with Tom Ferry. We would recommend you go back
It
and
went
watch it.
great.
It
It
went
was
great. So yes,
wonderful.
let's try that
You
again. Take
missed
two.
out.
So we just wrapped up at Success Summit in 2025. You're gonna love it. All right, you guys get the point. All right, Jason, great show, my friend.
Oh,
Where
yep.
can people follow us online? Where, if they want to stay connected to the Growth Mode podcast, where can they subscribe to us?
Yeah, so on YouTube, Spotify, if you're using SoundCloud, if you're using Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to podcasts, we're there with the Growth Mode podcast. You can connect. I would recommend on YouTube. We do a lot of screen share on this platform. And if you want to get the best and the most out of these, I would check us out there. And other than that, Jimmy's on Instagram, Tom's on Instagram, I'm on Instagram, and we're here for you to help you on your journey for growth in your business.
That's it. Thanks so much, Jason. Great seeing you.
See you, dude.